Señor Grant Cardone, welcome to your studio in Spain.
Man, that place looks.
They made it look
This is the next baby.
The next in Spain.
The next in Spain, man. Let's go.
a surprise for you.
How you guys doing?
We're doing so great, and it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming. Appreciate you having me.
Is
Is that
Grant,
right? Is that
you
light?
know, we were so inspired when we saw your studio, and we were there making an interview with you, maybe you remember, and we said, we want that Grant has his own studio when he comes here in Spain with his Jamboard, with everything. This is not chroma key, man.
Oh my God, y'all knocked off the whole thing, huh? That's awesome.
Totally, totally. We have 260 people here, and we told them, hey, do you want some?
Sorry, it's a few more.
It's 263,
and
and we told them, listen, you can do two things. Come to another interview and get some knowledge, or do you want some transformation? Everybody said 20 minutes ago, we want transformation. So we told them, guys, get the book now. Guys, if you see the chat, who bought the book of Grant Cardone 15 minutes ago? Put in the chat.
And there is no any affiliate anything?
No affiliates. They're all in Amazon.
Yeah, the other thing is, make sure, because I'm willing to spend some time with you guys to make sure you get your questions answered.
Yeah.
Because transformation only takes place when a person knows with certainty.
Yeah.
The information they're getting. So I don't actually in my life, I don't make a transformation. I know you guys are going to control the whole interview and everything, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But you can't make transformations when you're just learning.
Yeah.
You have to know something. You got to know that it's true for you. It doesn't matter if it's true for everybody else, because it won't be. Nothing will ever be true for other people.
That's true.
You know, so I can find 5 people to agree with me, and I can find more people that will always disagree with me.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
But what's important is that, do I agree? It's not even important that 5 people agree with me. What do I know is true for me?
Yeah.
And that can become a big asset, or that could also become a liability, because many people are operating with information that's not true for them. I'm sorry, it is true for them, but it's not helping them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if you've ever seen somebody that, you know, maybe they were born poor, came out of a poor family, all of a sudden they did really well, and then they weren't doing well anymore. Well, something helped them do well, and they kept doing that same thing over and over and over again, and now it's not working. So even though it was true right here, it's not true anymore. So not only do you need to know what's true for you, but you also need to know what's working for you.
Totally.
And I'll tell you, I was doing an interview with this guy the other day, and he became very successful as a salesman.
Yeah.
But he's no longer successful.
What happened? What do you think? What happened? Why not?
He kept asking the same questions over and over.
Right.
And he didn't transform himself. And this is what you brought up, transformation. When he was 25 years old, he was a good salesman. When he was 30 years old, he was a good salesman. Then the guy became a crook because he mismanaged money. And what happened was he went from salesman to businessman, and he failed.
Yeah.
And then he didn't clean up the failure. He didn't take responsibility for it. He didn't actually transform through his mistakes, and he went back to being a salesman again. And now he's back to where he was when he was 25, worried about how to sell a pen. Transformation is this: I start as a salesman, I become a great salesperson, I become a master at selling, I get a sales team.
Yeah.
Okay, I get a sales team, and then I have a business. I start a business. Some people, what they do is they become a salesman, get great at salesman, master sales, and they start teaching sales.
Yeah.
Stuck in the loop of teaching sales and never become a business person.
Correct. Yeah.
So you guys that are watching right now, the 258 people that signed on, first I want to congratulate you for being here, for spending some time with me. I don't know how many of you Spanish, English is probably your second language, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the second language. Yeah. And
So just the fact that you're willing to listen to me, I really, really appreciate it.
we really appreciate your time because we know how you roll, man. One question. For some people that say, okay, I'm not sure who is Grant Cardone, what is it that you do in order to get thousands and thousands of people in Vegas? We were in Vegas with you 2 years ago. What is it that you do to get so many people excited, thousands of people traveling to see you?
Well, I think, you know, there's a lot of things that have people excited about what I'm doing and the 10X rule. I've written 8 books, 13 best-selling business programs. But I think the one thing that has people most excited that a lot of people don't understand until they get involved with me, is it's not about me. It's about my material, okay? It's about what we're teaching people. I'm not teaching people to get motivated. Okay, we're not teaching motivation or hype, or I don't do life coaching. I even tell people, look, I'm not your life coach. Don't ask me about your marriage. I'm not here about your marriage. Or what your dad did to you when you were a little boy. And I'm also not just telling people what they should or shouldn't do. I'm telling people specifically, if it's real estate or sales or follow-up or closing or negotiating, all different things. Hey, do this, try this exact thing. There's strategies. You know, it's a funny thing because about half the people, maybe more, somebody saying, translate, please. Do y'all want to?
Later. We will later. We will later.
Okay. Because if you want to take the time to do it now, it's fine.
It's good? Mira, chicos, una cosa clave. Thanks, Grant. We're going to compress and maybe later we could put it in the notes. Lo que Grant os está diciendo es que, fíjate, él no está aquí porque se trata de él. Él no te va a motivar. De hecho, no se trata del hype, no se trata de esto, que esto es profundo. Él le dice, yo le digo a la gente específicamente que hagan esto, pero exactamente esto. Esto es de lo que va Grant. Y es porque la mayoría de la gente no le hace caso y dice, esto es lo que tienes que hacer. Y da igual porque él tiene éxito en el real estate, tiene éxito como negociante, tiene éxito como vendedor y tiene un negocio. Por lo tanto, algo sabe. Y la gente es lo que les dice, haz esto. So focus on one thing.
Yeah, and I'm also not teaching people tricks.
Right.
So.
Like what tricks, for example?
You know, tricks like neuro-linguistic programming, modeling, you sit one way, I sit another way, you do this, I do that.
Yeah.
Grant nos dice que él no nos enseña trucos, como si dijéramos, simplemente técnica de Grant.
No va de PNL, no va de que si él se cruza los brazos, la otra persona, tú también cruzas los brazos, que si él hace así, tú haces también así. No se trata de nada de eso.
You know, there's no tricks, right? So if there's no tricks, people can learn the material. Yeah. And we work with real businesses. Like, I've worked with companies that make billions and billions of dollars. You can't trick a guy running $1 billion business.
No va de trucos cuando trabajas con una empresa.
Factura billones.
No, ahí no funcionan los truquitos. ¿Sí? No.
So then when we take that information and we start saying, how can I help an individual? How can I help Carlos that's starting a dry cleaning business or a laundry business or a restaurant? We give them exact strategies, whether it's the books, the audio programs, or Cardone University. We give them exact strategies so that we can be with people and help them through these things.
Right.
And so, right. Yeah. So so the reason we're filling rooms up, that was your question, right?
Yeah.
Is the material works, the information works, and it's changing people's lives in their businesses and how they can take care of their families.
O sea, si habéis visto Grant Cardone, nosotros hemos ido al evento de Las Vegas, impresionante. Sí. ¿Y por qué él es capaz de llenar miles de personas en un estadio? Y es porque lo suyo funciona, porque no son truquitos. Él enseña a alguien a montar un negocio y tienes que hacer esto. Si tú quieres montar una lavandería, te va a decir, esto es lo que tienes que hacer. A, B, C. Y funciona, lo implementas y funciona.
Massive action.
Massive action. Es que es eso. You know what I learned from you, Grant? One thing that you told on one of the events. Commit first, figure it out later. Commit first. You get out of your comfort zone. People tell, hey, could you do that speaking gig and talk about that? And we have no idea. We said, yes, then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Get problems.
Get problems. We always tell them.
Get new problems.
New problems.
Hey, that's the one.
Everybody's got problems. Everybody has problems. Everybody has problemo.
Problema. Muy bien.
The issue, this goes back to your question about transformation. That guy I told you about, he's got the same problems he had 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't want the same problems. I want new problems. The other reason that our conferences, like we had 35,000 people in Miami last year.
Yeah.
People are interested in my growth now. They're interested in, okay, they're watching me in real time take an idea. We took an idea and put it into an e-commerce environment. From zero, we went to $40 million without raising money.
Incredible.
And I'm an ordinary guy. That's the other thing. People are like, okay, he's an everyday guy. He's the everyday person. I'm not some special, I'm not some genius. We're not talking about Facebook.
Esto es muy importante avisaros. Gran Cardone no viene de una familia rica, multimillonaria, que le ha dado dinero. No viene de grupos capitalistas que le han invertido. Simplemente Gran ha ido creciendo poco a poco y yo creo que eso es una de las inspiraciones para todos. Gran está aprendiendo y cambiando. Y una de las cosas que nos ha dicho, que tengamos nuevos problemas. Ha hablado antes de un problema de un comercial que había vuelto al punto cero. No queremos volver al punto cero, al punto inicial. Queremos volver a tener nuevos problemas.
Totalmente. Yeah.
We are in the moment of having new problems, and this is people want to see the growth.
Yeah, yeah. So if somebody is right now like in a business where they're hitting, you know, a plateau, they're not breaking through, what would you say to these 200 something people that are entrepreneurs, that they have an entrepreneur in mind, but are like getting stuck in a certain level?
I would say, well, it depends on why. So number one, if you are getting information from a lot of places and not doing anything with it, and you're like, oh, I went to a conference, I went to a webinar, I went to this, I read a book, and you're not getting anything done, it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's because you're getting information from too many places.
Right, yeah.
So it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to know what you're doing is right for you.
Now guys, all the people that are listening, I'm going to translate this. I want the people that to be honest. Who that is listening right now, Grant, is in more than one project or is doing too many things? ¿Quién de vosotros que estáis ahora escuchando, Grant dice, pon foco en una cosa? ¿Quién de vosotros ahora mismo está en más de una cosa? Ser totalmente sinceros, abriros. Es la única forma que una persona, un mentor como Grant, desde su oficina os puede ayudar. Ponerlo, por favor. Who's doing too many things?
Yeah, well, let me just say that I'm not talking about being, I run...
Learning from one person, I think, Grant.
Learning from one person.
I run 7 companies. I don't mind a lot of projects. I do not learn from 7 people.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's the
so if I study, here's a big problem today in society. People listen to me, then they jump and go to another webinar, and then they go to a podcast, and then they go read a book, and then they go talk to their uncle. How do you say uncle in Spanish?
Tío.
Then they go to one uncle and then to other tío.
Exacto.
And by the time you're finished, then you ask your wife what she thinks, or your husband.
Yeah.
There's no time for taking action.
Conflict of information. if there's a conflict of data, okay, you listen to Dave Ramsey, he says don't borrow money, and I say borrow money to expand your business. Conflict of data results in no movement.
Yes, that's
You
right.
can't have transformation studying two religions.
Yeah.
Just be at one religion, I think what Grant wants to say,
Yes.
isn't it?
Like have one mentor, go with him, break
All the
through
way.
with him, all the way.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Okay, like don't study. In the beginning, you can't be a wrestler, a boxer. You gotta get great at one of them. Okay, if you're gonna be in the UFC, you gotta get great at one. You gotta become a specialist at one thing and then move to the next thing.
Y esto es clave, ¿eh? O sea, a veces él dice, yo tengo personas que dicen que no tomes ningún préstamo. Y Gran dice, tú toma un préstamo. Y claro, son dos cosas de dos personas diferentes y ¿sabes lo que pasa? Que entonces tú no tomas acción, porque no dices, no sé a quién
preguntas
escuchar.
al tío, a la mujer,
Exacto.
a la madre, tal.
Y ya
Pero si
está.
tienes un mentor, una persona, un guía,
Y ves con uno. Y
one
ves a
question
tope con
for
uno.
Grant. Grant, who has been your best mentor ever?
Well, I've had a lot of mentors over my lifetime for different reasons. When I was in a certain area of my life. Okay, so right now, the guys that I'm studying today are businesses. I'm not studying people now. I'm starting to study the trajectory and experience of a company.
And who would you say it's one of the trajectories of a company that you're following and trying to kind of like?
Well, I look at a company like Apple Computer. Okay, like Apple. I'm like, oh wow, look how many products they have. Look how many payment programs they have. Look how many times they release a new project.
They're the leaders.
Look how many times they get rid of an old inventory, replace it with new inventory. Look how many price points they have. Look at their profits and their margins. Look how much money they borrow. Okay, this is the richest cash company in the world, and they borrow money. So who do you listen to? Apple or Dave Ramsey?
Apple, totally. And Grant, one question. All these companies, like your company, they have something very in common. They all have at the end teams. They are not one person managing everything. At what stage do you recommend somebody that's entrepreneur should bring on a team to really grow?
From the beginning. You're not going anywhere alone. Jesus didn't do anything alone. He left his home alone, and then he went and got a team. So he left his team, Joseph and Mary. He said, hey, ain't nobody listening to me here. It's interesting that he left. It's interesting, the most powerful people on the planet that have ever lived left home to become powerful. Alexander the Great, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, just go down the list, man. Everybody leaves home except the little people. We want to stay home and take care of our mom and dad. And that's important, and that's really important to do that. But look, if you leave home and go build something big, you can take care of more than your mom and dad. You can take care of your mom, your dad, 1,000 employees and their moms and dads.
And it's breaking out from the comfort zone, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. It is.
Gran está diciendo algo súper importante de que cualquier buen líder, pues desde Gandhi, Gran Alexander, incluso Jesús, se fue de su casa, o sea, rompió ese patrón de salir de su zona de confort.
Y que al final se trata de crear un equipo. Tú no puedes llevarlo todo solo. O sea, el que ahora nos está viendo y tenga ideas, tenga un negocio, rápidamente, chicos, equipo. Necesitas un equipo para crecer.
Si no es imposible escalar.
Nosotros tenemos equipo. Gerard tiene equipo. Están ahí viéndonos. O sea, porque si no, realmente no puedes escalar. Is there a process to say, okay, this is the key person that you would jump in on a team? Would you recommend somebody that does the sales for you to have like assistant? Is there to share some some knowledge?
Yeah, so we have a sales director here of one of our divisions. We have sales managers below him. We have a president that runs a company. I have 4 partners in other businesses. I have a division over here that we got 500 employees here. Now, just so everybody knows, the first 20 years I was in business, I had 3 employees.
Wow. The first, how many years? 20 years.
O sea, durante 20 años Gran estuvo solo y ahora pues creo que ha dicho más de 500 trabajadores.
De tener 3 a tener 500 en una división.
I grew more last year. Last year, I grew more in 1 year than I grew in the previous, in the 20 years with 3 employees.
This is when
Incredible.
they said about looking for the gold mine. You just keep making the hole for 20 years and then.
Yeah. Gran, somebody like you, can I ask you maybe a more personal question is there something you're afraid of?
Something I'm afraid of. You know, the thing that scares me the most is that I would live my life and not fulfill my full potential.
Good.
I mean, at this point, it's just about, wow, what could I do here? You know, my whole life I have been plagued. I thought I was a competitive person, but I'm really not competitive. I thought it was about the competition, but then one day I realized, and you might want to translate some of this, but
yes, we will. Yeah.
I realized that I wasn't really competing with anybody ever.
You're a leader.
Sí. Sabéis que le he hecho la pregunta a Grant, una pregunta un poco directa, ¿no? Un poco más personal. Decir, oye, una persona como Grant, ¿a qué le tiene miedo? Y habéis visto, ¿no? Su respuesta es muy clara. Miedo a que si a él le pasa cualquier cosa que no haya hecho el impacto suficiente. Y él pensaba que antes era sobre la competencia. Sí. Fijaros qué mentalidad, ¿eh? Que la mayoría estamos pensando, la competencia, ¿qué hace? Que no se trata de la competencia. It's not about the competition. It comes a time where you say, it's not about the competition. Yes, what did I deliver? What did I give to society?
And so, even though I felt like, oh man, Joe's taking my business, the other guy over here, he's taking my business, and it bothered me. Anytime I got caught up in that, I did not complete myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I became incomplete when I compete. Because the only thing I should have been worried about the whole time was, hey, what can I do? Not what is he doing? What else can I do? What else can I do with my life? So when I look at these companies, I'm like, Coca-Cola, Netflix, Caterpillar. What's a great company in Spain?
In Spain, we have like Zara.
Tell me one of them with 3 employees.
Zara, Repsol,
Telefónica, Movistar. Yeah.
But who do we listen to? We listen to the people on Instagram that want to run a business from their house.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a guy in my office that's a super influential person online talking about how people, if they're going to make $40,000, they should work from their home. I'm like, nobody should work from their home. People need to become a part of a team.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as little. Little doesn't work anymore. So again, it didn't work for Jesus. He's like, I need a team. And that didn't even take care of it. Like, people need a big team. Alexander the Great had a big team. Attila the Hun had a big team. You know, the great soccer teams. What's the soccer player?
Barça. Messi.
Look at his team.
Barcelona.
If I take his team off, I guarantee he's nobody.
Yeah, true.
I mean, he looks good. He's got great abs, just like me. Okay? He's living the life and all that, but he won't win any games without a team. You've got to build a team out. Teams cost money. They're frustrating. They disappoint you. But it's still better than no team. And it's more fun to do it with others than by yourself. And this is my message. Like, that's why 35,000 people came to the 10X Growth Conference, because we're teaching people today is this: you must make things bigger, 10 times bigger than you're thinking about.
When did Grant started thinking about 10X time? Because I'm sure when you started until you were teaching how to be a great salesman, you didn't have the when did you have the, yeah, let's do 10X?
When I was 51 years old and realized, hey, what I was doing had been good, but it wasn't great.
Is it when you met your wife? Probably is one of the amazing moments, I think, that you said, man, I can go as well.
When I had a wife and 2 children, I started becoming responsible, started the familial responsibility of familial, right? I lost my dad when I was 10. I lost my mom about 10 years ago. I lost an older brother when I was 25. So, you know, you could feel the family unit shrinking. When I got married and added kids, I'm like, whoa, I had enough money for me, the car, the house. Now I had a responsibility. And then that woke up something. Why am I responsible only for a wife and 2 kids? Why am I not reaching out to Barcelona? Why don't I have friends in Moscow? Why have I never been to Singapore? These are all family members too.
Yeah.
You know, certainly we're all Spanish. Certainly everything and everyone came from Spain originally.
And Italy, Spain and Italy, right?
Spain and Italy.
You know, Italy came from Spain. Let's come on.
World domination.
So, you know, all great things happen from, you were a Spaniard at one time, even if you're a Muslim today, you were a Spaniard somewhere. So my point is, we're all brothers and sisters on a big planet. And most of us are just thinking too small. In the 10X rule, which has taken like the planet by storm, the 10X rule basically suggests, hey, you set goals and then you 10X them.
Yes.
Whatever the goal you think it will change your life, 10 times that. The problem with the 10X rule is once you 10X that, then you 10X it again.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one.
Este
That's the one.
es el
I just saw the
concepto
book coming in there.
del 10X. Este es el concepto del 10X. Chicos, o sea, si os tuviéramos que recomendar otra cosa es coger este libro de 10. O sea, cogeros todo de Grant Cardone, todo lo que podáis leer, cogéroslo. Si a nosotros nos sirvió, no os haríamos ningún favor si no os lo dijéramos, ¿entendéis? Y el concepto de 10X es dejar de pensar así. Él decía, él compartía, cuando tenía 51 años, ahí empezó el concepto de 10X.
O sea, que la gran mayoría de las personas que estamos en la sala posiblemente somos más jóvenes.
Exacto.
Probably the people who's in the room, Grant, is less than 51 years old, and they could be where you are.
Exactly.
In 10 years.
Yes, totally. O sea, que fijaros, ahí es cuando empezó a decir, oye, 10X, o sea, 10X, ¿por qué no puedo tener amigos en Moscú, en España? Y empezó a expandirse. Y esta filosofía empresarial la quería como expandir, ¿no? Y llevarla a todos los lados.
Oh, over there they asked me. Yeah. Okay, so I think you have some questions coming from your panelists.
Yeah. So, chicos, ahora es el momento, si queréis, podéis hacer preguntas. One question came out, interesting, is because many people say, oh, Grant is such a charismatic people, that's why he sells so good. Do you think yeah, exactly. Everybody can sell, can learn how to sell?
Yes, I believe that anyone can learn to sell. But again, you should be asking bigger questions than learning how to sell. The reason the owner of the company should learn to sell is so that he can get everyone else in the organization to learn to sell.
Exactly. Otherwise, you don't know if they're doing it correctly. You need to know how to sell.
And you need to be able to inspire people that it can be done.
Yes.
So look, a company lives and dies by 2 things: promotion, marketing, and sales.
Yes.
They go together. You do one without the other. You can't continue to do the other. So if you don't do the marketing, you don't get the sales. And if you do the marketing and you don't do the sales, you won't continue to market. But those two things cannot define an individual. What you want to be is a business. And that business needs marketing and sales. And so in the beginning, yeah, definitely marketing first. Daniel said, which one's most important? Marketing. Marketing is more important than sales.
I heard you once said, if I would start over again, I would invest much more in marketing.
Oh man, dude, it cost me $400 or $500 million.
Cuidado lo que dice. Si volvería a empezar, diría, lo primero que quería, invertir en marketing. No haberlo hecho, dice, me ha costado $500 millones. O sea,
Yeah. So look, if you're going to be weak at one of these, if you spend enough money, you don't need to know how to sell. The reason you want to know how to sell is because sales can get somebody that has no money out of poverty. Like if I didn't have any money today, nothing, you take everything away from me, right?
Yeah.
And I have nothing. What do I need to go do? I need to go to a street corner and I need to say, hey, give me some money.
Yeah.
I don't need an idea. I just need to go find somebody and say, hey, can you give me, would you give me $100? Okay, no? Okay, good. Do you know somebody that would help me with $100? Okay, I need to convince them, get their attention and convince them to give me $100. And look, I'll pay you back in the future. I don't know when I can pay you back. I don't know when that'll happen. I know I'm coming back and I'll pay you $100 back. But if you're in poverty, sales can get you out of poverty immediately.
Totally.
But if you want to build a business, you got to start marketing yourself. Okay? And so somebody says here, oh, I'm effing good at sales. Good, great, excellent. I know a lot of great salespeople that don't have any money.
Yeah.
So one, I got to get good at sales. Then I got to get good at marketing. Then I got to build a business. And then I got to get good at money. Because I know people that know sales, marketing, and good at business, and they're broke. Yeah, true. And actually, where do you invest so you don't get broke? So what is those key elements to don't have any money problems? Once you're good at marketing, good at sales, you build a company. Now, what do you do with the cash flow? What do you recommend us to do? Okay, great question. Great. I'm glad I'm doing this with you guys. All right. First of all, some of your guests are saying I'm handsome, which I like that.
I can say that. I was actually married, I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
One of the,
Yes,
guapo,
y encima guapo, sí señor,
Muy
Mary.
bien, muy bien.
So I'm certainly more handsome than the panelists here. So look, the best way to manage money is not to have any.
Get rid of the money.
Get rid of it. Always get rid of money. The reason most people don't have money is they try to save it. And the reason you're saving it, the only reason anybody would tell you to save money, your uncle did, tío, right?
El tío. Sí, los consejos del tío.
Save your money, son, save your money. And the only reason he said that was because he did not know how to produce more money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, buy a house. Why should I buy a house? You have people watching this today that have more money in their house than they do in their business. It's a mistake. A house cannot make you money.
Correct. Yeah.
Sales, marketing, and business make you money. That's where all your money and time and energy should be invested. I go make a sale, I get some money, I invest it into marketing, I got a business.
Yeah.
Business starts working, it creates some cash. I take the cash over here, invest it in making more marketing for more sales, so I grow my business. I take that money, I invest in sales and marketing. I build a team out, my business gets bigger. I look at my business one day, I'm like, man, this is a big business, and I got a bunch of money sitting over here. I literally can't make the money work. And I got some money over here. Oh, let me go invest in another company. Let me go invest my money now. Don't save money, invest money. And so that's what I've done.
Esto es oro, chicos.
Entonces,
And you're getting gold out of this. You're getting gold. This is how Grant built his company. Primero, marketing, ventas, marketing, ventas, marketing, ventas. Y todo el dinero que tienes lo reinviertes en marketing y ventas. Creas un negocio, tienes un equipo, vuelves a invertir y ahora cuando tienes una masa crítica empiezas a invertir. ¿Empiezas a invertir dónde? En otras empresas. O por ejemplo en real estate, como hacen inversiones inmobiliarias. Esa es la clave, chicos.
So somebody said that's a bit scary doing that. Actually, this is less scary than what you're doing now. Daniel said that'd be scary to do that.
Fíjate, Daniel dice, reconozco que esto da miedo hacerlo, pero Grant dice, da más miedo hacer lo que haces ahora, de ir ahorrándote el dinero. No lo ahorres. Porque el por qué ahorras dinero es porque no tienes la habilidad de generar más dinero.
Exacto, ese es el problema.
When you save money, you are reinforcing fear. You're not getting rid of fear. You're reinforcing it. That's why you're saving it.
Cuando
Okay,
ahorras
that
dinero,
money,
refuerzas tu miedo.
yeah, that money affirms your concerns. Oh, I got to save for a rainy day. I got to save for the emergency. I got to save for the thing that happens. And that money sits there, and your attention is on that money. By the way, that money's, I'm putting it behind me because it's always because of something you did. Okay, so my attention, half of my attention goes back to this thing. When everything that I want in my life is in front of me, it's never behind me.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't pay taxes
And
once you invest the money.
Exactly.
Once you invest the money, you only pay taxes on the saved money.
Exactly. Exactly. That's true. Yeah. What?
That's why wealthy people take that money and they're like, no, go put it into my future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in this company. I'm gonna put it in this thing. I'm gonna put it in some real estate over here. Because all that's in front of them, not behind them.
Saving money reinforces my fucking fear. Shit, this is true. You know, I love we're opening my eyes.
I love that transformation because it opened my eyes. This is why we wanted to do this interview, because we know Grant
Plus, you're
opens
taking shit
your
of
eyes.
action when you put all the money in your investment and you're moving things.
How many times a year do you get broke?
And okay, like people put money in index funds. Anybody that's got money in an index fund right now, the only reason you're doing that is because you're scared.
Oops.
Yeah.
And you should be, by the way, you should be scared. And that fund was created based on fear. And too many scared people are in those funds now. And when you put that many scared people in one place, it always turns out poorly. So anybody here that's invested in index funds, I'm just going to give you your little warning today. You're going to tell me I'm right later. Hopefully you will have gotten out today. Get rid of paper assets.
Chicos, fuera el dinero de índices, de todo lo que tengáis en fondos de inversión.
Sí,
fuera. Le daréis las gracias a Grant más adelante. No mañana ni pasado. Más adelante le daréis mucho las gracias.
Also, I think another thing that Grant says, don't invest in your house.
Yes.
It's not an investment. You rent
Yes.
your homes.
Yes.
And I think that's a good
I followed his advice. I'm always on rent. I follow his advice because
where you put your money.
investments, always investment. The cash flow, I want that money produces the money because we're working, so we get cash flow, and we hear very good Grant Cardone. He says he gets broke twice a year. True or not?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want cash, just a piece of paper.
Yes.
Okay? This is a piece of paper. This is no good until you use it. I use it, I fold it, I send it to someone and say, hey, make that happen. It's only good. It's worthless. It's just a piece of paper.
Eso es el dinero, chicos. Eso es el
Same with money.
Dinero.
It's no good. It's no good. It's nothing. It's worth nothing. Okay, what can happen to it? I can lose it. I can burn it. I can get it stolen from me. It will not grow by itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. It gets stolen.
Put it back to the bucket, man.
But watch this, because we weren't taught this by our parents. Okay? I could take it and I could buy time with it. Say, hey, there's $400, do 10 hours of work for me. Now, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get him to do 10 hours of work for me. But you see, what I'm gonna do is I'm doing 90 hours of work a week. Now I just hit 100, it cost me $400.
Yeah.
If I could, somebody asked me last week, they said, how many hours you worked last week? I said, I don't know, let me figure it out right now, okay? Let me see, let me just see here. Let me see here. And look, for everybody that's just tuning in right now, I started exactly where everybody else did. So stop the nonsense about, oh, he doesn't understand. No, I understand more than you think.
I'm going to translate that because that's important.
Yeah.
Si algún chico, alguna chica ahora mismo dice, ah, claro, pero es que estás aquí ahora diciendo estos consejos. Ya, pero cuidado, que él estuvo donde estáis vosotros, los 200 y pico que estáis viendo. Él estaba incluso peor. Y si conocéis y estudiáis un poquito su vida, estaba peor. Entonces, fijaros, ¿habéis visto cuando puso el dinero, esos $400? ¿Sabes lo que él hace cuando lo rompió? Yo doy esos 400 euros a alguien para que haga algo por mí, para que haga un trabajo por mí, porque así yo me libero de la ecuación del tiempo. Eso es lo que hace con el dinero, realmente.
Y genera más.
Y así puede generar más. ¿Sí?
Yeah, I grew up with nothing, and I had less when I was 25 than when I was 15. So I know what not having money is. I know what it's like to start with zero. I know what a hard life is. And some of this stuff is just because we have the wrong information.
Yeah.
And I know I did, okay? Last week, I don't know if you can see this.
20,000.
Yeah.
I worked 20,000 hours. Not counting the 100 I put in.
Woohoo!
La
And my
semana
100
pasada
hours is
trabajó
like
20.000
500
horas.
hours.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And plus you are omnipresent with an amazing team.
Yes. That's
So that doesn't count the 200,000 downloads on YouTube that somebody watched because I did the video a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it doesn't include the number of people on Facebook that are going to watch this using their time. 213 people. Let me see, what time is it? How long have we been on this call already?
That's 40 minutes.
33 minutes.
Okay, so watch. This is how you multiply time. Okay, 213.
Está multiplicando el tiempo. Fijaros lo que dice él.
7,000 minutes.
Él ha trabajado ahora 7.000 minutos.
117 hours of work I've just done right here.
Él ha trabajado 117 horas por el efecto apalancamiento que va a tener esto, más lo que va a repercutir en tiempo.
Yeah. So one video that I did yesterday was watched 963 hours yesterday.
Incredible. Yeah.
In addition to all these people that work with me, okay? Not to mention the lawyer that I hired, and he charges me $600 an hour, and he did 4 hours of work. So this is what people need to change their thinking right now from how little can I do and how small can I be to how can we multiply rather than how do we budget.
Entonces, fíjate, en vez de pensar cuánto podemos ahorrar, la situación es cuánto puedo hacer crecer mi equipo. Porque cuánto puedo ahorrar es que tú no vas a avanzar, sino cuánto puedo ahora crecer teniendo un equipo. Esa es la clave. Por eso él trabaja, hace un vídeo y ese vídeo ha trabajado por él miles de horas. And Grant, where would we put, there's a nice question there, where would we put like small amounts of money to generate more money? So investments.
Three investments people should be making right now, okay? Number one, if you have less than $10,000 in cash, you should only be investing in yourself.
Okay, el primero es que si tenéis menos de $10.000 o 10.000 euros en cash, o sea, líquido en el banco, eso no lo mováis, lo inviertes en ti, en tu desarrollo.
If you don't have any money, none. The thing you should be investing in is in yourself.
Pues si no hay dinero, no lo mismo.
Something new. Okay, you don't have to spend money to learn something new, by the way. Go to a street corner and beg for money. You will be learning. Okay, go knock on doors. Go knock on doors cold. You're going to learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
So number one, if you have less than $10,000, you should be investing in yourself. Number two, because you probably don't want to spend the whole $10,000 on one event or one conference or one thing, right? Spend $1,000 when it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, I spent $3,000 when I was 25 years old. I invested $3,000. I borrowed. I had no money. I borrowed $3,000 from my mother to learn how to become a salesperson. I tried being a salesperson without knowing anything. It was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was terrible at it, and I hated it because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So like if you don't like cooking, it's because you don't know how to cook. If you don't like dancing, it's because you don't know how to dance.
Yeah.
Go take a class. Okay? If I took a class on, what's that Spanish dancing?
Flamenco.
Flamenco.
Flamenco. Yeah.
Then you know what? I'd probably like it more than if I didn't. That takes time and money. So the first thing I would do is this. I'd invest money in myself. Number two, I'd invest money in marketing myself. I wouldn't go make an investment in the stock market, index funds. This is why the banks and Wall Street lie to people so much. It just makes me sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Because they say, if you have $500, invest your little bit of money in investments. No, you should invest in yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? I can lose money in stocks. I can't lose on me.
Fíjate, dice,
Es importante.
la gente invierte en la bolsa, en los criptos. Ahí puedes perder, pero tú no puedes perder cuando inviertes en ti. Entonces dice, si tú tienes 10.000, coge 1.000 y invierte en ti.
Sí.
Porque te va a dar miedo, pero ¿sabes lo que va a hacer? Te va a hacer crecer. Te va a hacer crecer. Y el resto también lo inviertes en marketing. O sea, no empieces a hacer inversiones raras y tal en marketing. En
O sea,
ti.
que contrario a lo que se suele decir, o sea, que
Sí.
esto es curioso porque es como, cuando ganas un poquito de dinero es como,
Inviértelo.
dilúyelo, mándalo por ahí para que... No. Que crezca más en ti. O sea,
Sí.
dale seguridad. Esto es muy importante.
Sí.
Then the third thing, once you're making some money, okay, then if you're still having trouble making money, you don't need to worry about investing money. You need to learn how to make more money.
Yeah.
And then when there's leftovers, then start making investments in and the only thing I would invest in at that point personally is real assets, which is brick, concrete, properties that produce cash flow. Not a house, but that produce. So I'm either investing in my own business or I'm investing in a piece of real estate that can provide me with cash flow. And again, this is why so many people are interested in this 10X movement. It's like we do a 3-day event. Actually, it was a 5-day event last year. We did 5 days. In the entire 5 days, people from 50 countries came to Miami to say, okay, how do I get started? How do I 10X that? How do I 10X that? How do I 10X that? And then next thing you know, you got people in the room, they got 1,000 employees. Okay, now what do I do? So I'm not just working all the time, and I start making investments. So when I share information with people, I'm sharing what I'm doing right now, and who I'm studying are people that have built massive companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the purpose is, and I'll just end with this, everything that I do is to build a business that can support the life I deserve.
Correct.
And this is not about money. It's about how do you build a life that you deserve. Money does not give a person everything they deserve. You need time. You need friends. You need fun. It can't just be money. I know people that have money that don't have anybody to share it with.
Totally. Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Okay? You need help. You need good health.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So my next book's going to be How You Can Have It All.
How you can have it all. Ese es el próximo libro. ¿Cómo lo puedes tener todo? Grant, when are you coming to Spain? We would love to,
Well, actually, Barcelona.
to have you in Spain.
Actually, Grant, you told me first, Gerard, I'm going to be in Barcelona. I was like, fuck, man, shit scared. I think you said, when are you going to be in Barcelona then?
Dude, which city should I go to? They say Barcelona, Madrid. Maybe.
Barcelona.
I think I'm going to go to Portugal first, guys. Get close to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, Portugal, and you know, you're 45 minutes with your jet away from here to Barcelona.
Yeah. And we
If
could do an event.
we can do an event.
I think I'm going to go to Portugal, then go to Gibraltar, and just fly over you guys.
Perfect. That sounds good. And you can come here to your studio and do a live webinar here.
Okay, I was in Marbella, what, last year? I was in Barcelona the year before that. Where were you guys?
We're here
En Alicante.
Alicante.
Why didn't you come see me?
Whenever you want.
I got that close and you didn't come see me?
We didn't know. We didn't know.
Okay.
We didn't know.
Let's do one thing, and I would like to propose. What about if we make an event next year, Barcelona or Madrid? You choose where you want it, Grant. I would recommend Barcelona.
Totally.
And we put
It's
1,000.
Where do they dance on the tables? Where do they dance on the tables?
Where do they dance on the
Is it
tables?
Sevilla?
That's Sevilla.
Sevilla.
That's in the south.
Let's do it there.
La fiesta, Leo, la
Okay,
fiesta.
all right. I will make sure people dance on the tables wherever we do the event. Right?
Yeah, wherever we go, I think I could, yeah. So, hey, look, if you guys want to do an event there, what about Sevilla? Where's Sevilla?
It's
In the
The south of Spain.
Okay, all right. Look,
Best places would be Barcelona or Madrid, I'll say.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
okay,
Barcelona, Madrid.
let's do it. Let's just put it on the, let's see if we got enough interest. I mean, you don't have enough people here to do an event.
Okay, let's ask here. Hey, ¿quién de vosotros que estáis aquí, si hiciéramos un evento con Grant, vendría y pagaría una entrada?
Hacer una cosa, ponerlo en el chat y
Ponlo
reventar
en
el
el
chat
chat.
para que Gran lo vea.
My question is, who would come to an event with
Well,
Grant?
when
paying
you see the
and
results,
paying?
people say Madrid, Barcelona. Guys also say Madrid, Barcelona, or Valencia. And well, I see many Madrids and many Barcelonas. And this could be
Yeah, a lot of Madrid, dude. A lot of Madrid.
Yeah, man, it's the capital, you know. Malaga, I see a few other guys, Palma, Gran Canarias. Well, I guess there's a yes, isn't it?
I think that's a yes.
Everybody say yes.
Because I think, Grant, you has been on Dubai, I think you did,
Yes.
on Emirates.
Yes.
I just finished doing, I'm doing London and Dubai, Istanbul, and Kosovo before the end of the year.
For the end. Okay.
I think we did 19 countries this year already.
Yeah, I know you were in Greece, you were in Italy with the family, and I thought
Australia,
whenever Grant comes,
Yes.
we're gonna meet him. So it'll be great. You know, the Spanish language is the second most spoken language, and we would love that the people get that know-how, your knowledge, that they really get what you know in the Spanish language. That would make an impact incredible.
I think about the Spanish people, and I think about 10X. The Spanish people, the country is so beautiful, the people are beautiful, the passion is phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay, if anybody deserves to have a 10X life, it's the Spanish people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grant.
Muy bien. ¿Habéis lo que ha dicho? Si alguien se merece tener una vida 10X, son las personas de España. Son personas increíbles. Hay una emoción increíble en
Grant,
España.
I think
Eso
you
sí.
just dropped the bomb, and the event will be confirmed. But
Yes.
I think we just need to confirm the date. Would you be in for an event in Spain?
Absolutely.
Let's just
Exactly.
put the dates, put the people, and we make sure the event and the places, you just make sure
Hey,
you're there.
we commit first, and then we figure it out later.
Love it.
That's what I did. I rented in Miami. I rented a place. Well, we're going to do another event in Vegas this year. I committed to a space for 11,000 people.
Perfect.
And, you know, I know you got a place big enough for me.
I'm sure we do.
We build it, man.
We are.
Okay, you guys are awesome, man. Hey, tell everybody hello. I look forward to meeting everybody in person.
Yes.
Grant, it's been a pleasure.
Grant, it really, again, a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in, for sharing what you know, and for making an impact like you do.
I will see you in conference in Las Vegas, plus
Yes.
I see you also in Barcelona, Madrid in a year's time from now.
Love you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Grant.
All right.
Enjoy. Bye-bye. Yeah. ¿Qué os parece, chicos? Esto